All right, people. Yesterday, I played you a video of Amy Meck, who's a national treasure. Actually, no, not a national treasure. She's a global treasure. Absolutely destroyed the Islamist narrative in Congress. But she wasn't the only person. There were some other hidden superstars there as well who totally exposed the hypocrisy of Western institutions that are heavily biased and tilted towards lefty political narrative, where you have one set of rules for ordinary people and another set of rules for the wokies. So let me play you this clip where this senator, Tommy Tuberville, he just destroys Islam. Have a listen to him.
Mass migration is destroying our educational system. Listen to me, it is destroying it. Go to any high school and I can show you examples. More and more American kids are entering the classroom hearing multiple languages being spoken around them every day and have a difficult time making friends because they are now the minorities in the schools. We're having enough problems with our education system when our kids can't understand the language that the other people are speaking. That goes with our higher education, who have teachers and professors coming from other countries that can't speak English that are teaching our kids in higher education, and our kids are paying a fortune to go to these four-year schools. Enough's enough. This is an English language country, and that's how we speak. That's how we communicate. Approximately 5 million students in U.S. public schools are classified as English learners. 5 million can't speak English in our public schools across the country. It is destroying us.
And again, as I've always said, just what happens when you do not impose some basic rules like common language, common values. What happens? Just look at Europe. Just look at the UK, our cultural ancestor. This is the UK.
There is not a single white British child in 72 schools across England. In 454 schools, white British children make up less than 2% of the students.
And this is not British culture, guys. This is not British culture. You can cheapen it. You can demean it by reducing it to a race issue by saying that, hey, look, this is so racist. What's so wrong if there are no white children? Well, if there are no white children, then there's no white British culture left anymore, because people are the custodians of their culture, of their heritage.
Student body. White British children are also now a minority in 1 in 4 schools.
It's actually worse in Austria and Belgium.
Will there be a White History Month to help with these minority children?
Look at this. This white boy is praying Islamic style. I would fire everyone. I can't be a politician, but I surely can be a dictator.
To feel included. Will there be DEI initiatives to give them a leg up? Of course not. They're the wrong kind of minority, aren't they? And yet it seems if you even dare to raise these questions, the government now might label you as a potential terrorist.
You might find your name in the UK's Prevent Terror Watch list. He's right. No exaggeration. Cultural nationalism or traditionalism is now classified as a form of extremism in the UK. And they did it just to balance the equation, because over 90% of the people on, I don't know whether that was just the MI5 terror list or Prevent Watch list, they were all Muslims. So Muslims said, hey, come on, you got to include other people too. So they're like, okay, what should we do? How about those people who stand up for Britain or British values? We should include them as extremists as well. On the one hand, you have Islamist extremists who want to blow up, who want to subjugate you, who want to kill you, want to impose their archaic, barbaric, primitive value system on you. That's a form of extremism. And then on the other hand, you have British people who say, hey, we just want to live our lives according to British values. That's a form of extremism too. America. Anyway, this video is about America. So let's go back to the senator. That's what he's talking about. Guys, do not think for a moment that you're immune from this, okay? You're not. Yes, we have subtle differences in our countries. America is a bit different to the UK. Australia is a little bit different to the UK. But we have same foundational values. We have more in common than we don't. So this is no time for overconfidence or complacency or hubris. Listen to what these people are saying. I'm very happy, first of all. USA, USA, USA. We have at least these American politicians openly talking about this.
10 to 11% of K through 12 population and growing every day, and we got our eyes closed. Our kids already have enough problems. Many of our kids were set back during COVID. It was disastrous. What the federal government did to our kids of closing our schools was a disaster, and it was our fault. People in this building right here. But we're running and hiding now when the truth's coming out. So now our kids are being left behind the classroom because school resources are being reallocated for kids that come from other countries. We need to be spending money on our kids to make them and give them better lives.
I love it how all these lefty woke lunatic retards say that, oh, we're all immigrants. When the Germans and the French came to the US, they were forced to speak English. They were forced to integrate and assimilate. Maybe not even forced. They wanted to integrate and assimilate. A lot of those early immigrants, a lot of those migrant Americans, they had left their old world behind on purpose, and they wanted to adopt their new identity, which was the American identity. These third worlders who are coming in, they don't take pride in being an American. They don't care about it. Well, especially if you're a Muslim. Ask. They say it themselves. They don't care about your value system. Let me play this. I have to do this.
No integration, no multiculturalism, no diversity, no tolerance. I got my own deen, you got your own deen. You got your democracy, we got our own sharia. You got your own free mixing, we got our own nikah. Own cheating within the marketplace, your own credit cards. We got our own economic system. We got our own foreign policy.
That's why they have such shitty countries with no good economy.
We got our own deen.
Deen means religion, i.e. Islam. They say it themselves. He wasn't speaking in an empty room. These people have their followers literally in their millions.
We're leaving our kids behind, and our country will not survive without teaching and developing the next generation. The purpose of our immigration system should be to benefit hard-working American taxpayers. Do you think mass immigration is benefiting this country? Absolutely not. There's not one benefit to it. And the next, it's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. You know, mass immigration is a leech that is slowly bleeding this country dry, and politicians and the people across the country better open their eyes. There's been a lot of talk over the past few years about deportation, and I'm 100% of what President Trump's doing. They got to go home. We can't afford them. American taxpayers, they need help. We can't help people if we can't help ourselves.
So that's a good politician, and this is a bad politician. This guy is Australia's Home Affairs Minister. You know how this senator's board was saying assimilation or go home, as it should be the case? Look at this idiot. Look at our idiot.
Of immigration is people, when they come to Australia, want to be part of Australia. That's what people want.
They don't want that. They just want to leech off Australia. They want to suck our welfare system dry. They have no interest. They have no love for Australia. And you're facilitating that behavior by saying, you don't need to assimilate. Look at it. Look at the smug face. Oh my God, I hate him.
And I've never accepted the word assimilation. I don't want people to
I've never accepted it. Who the fuck are you?
lose who they are. The word integration is one that's being used as part of a multicultural dialogue for a very long time. And that's what it is. Like, we want people for who they are. I've never subscribed to that sort of melting pot concept that your whole identity is meant to be dissolved.
Your whole identity is meant to be dissolved. Look at this philosopher. What a genius. Anyone can come into our country. And look at this. Our pathetic prime minister, his boss, almost said the same thing. You can't hate these people enough, guys. I'm telling you. You can't hate these people enough. They are as bad as they get. Look at this. According to this genius, our loser prime minister, everyone's an Australian. Doesn't matter where you're from. You're sub-Saharan African. You're from the Amazonian, from some distant Amazonian tribe. You're an Afghan who beats up his wife, who FGMs his daughter, who thinks music is haram, who wants to establish Sharia in Australia. Everyone, doesn't matter who you are. Everyone is an Australian. Look at the state of these pathetic geniuses.
The distinction between Australians and migrants is.
I wonder what a distinction. look at the smug faces that they make. I don't know. What's the distinction between an Afghan migrant and an Australian? There's no difference. They're all the same. But Prime Minister, he believes that women should be locked up in their homes. They shouldn't be allowed to go outside. He beats up his wife. He thinks that's his God-given right. He wants to FGM his daughter. That's okay. I don't know. Yeah, an Aussie would do that. Would do the same thing to his wife. No, he wouldn't. And if he did, we'll put him in jail. The difference is in Australia, domestic violence is a crime. Australian society does not accept it. But in Islam, it's okay. Chapter 4, verse 34. It specifically allows Muslim husbands to physically discipline their disobedient wife. And look at this stupid woman behind her. I don't know who she is. What a stupid woman. She'll be nodding like this. Who are these geniuses? Oh God, how do we get here? How do we get here?
Because I've never seen that used before in a country like ours. In a country like ours. You know, we have people who are in senior positions in our government, in business, you know, some of the giants of business in this country came here as refugees and as migrants.
Very few people. Most of them who are successful, they came as skilled migrants. And that is testament to the fact that skilled migration works, okay? And those people have perfectly integrated well. They've integrated and assimilated. Integration is just one aspect. Integration just means that, you know, you've become part of the system, part of the economy, but you have maintained your identity. But that identity has to be lost over time, okay? My children are going to be more Australian than me, obviously, because I wasn't born here, but they would be just as Australian as anyone else, as mainstream Australian. They're not going to wear hijabs, and they're not going to hold on to their archaic, barbaric, primitive Islamic worldviews, or any other, not just Islamic, any other country's worldview. They won't. And if they haven't, then I have failed as a parent, and Australia as a country has failed because of these loser politicians who say, doesn't matter. Everyone's an Australian. Look at this woman. I can't believe this. Do these idiots, they just love to stand there and give these virtue signaling, these self-righteous lectures. They just want to say these glossy things, these shiny things to make you feel like, oh, if you think otherwise, then you're a bad person. You know, you're a bad person. You're an evil person for thinking like that. You're so racist.
Are they separate from Australians?
This guy is as Australian as the Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan, or Chris Hemsworth. Wow. Anyway, sorry, I rambled on for a while. Let me get back to the star of the show. This 16-year-old Texas student, Marco Hunter Lopez, just exposed how his high school censored conservative values while openly promoting Sharia law. That's what I meant by that. One rule for normal people and another for Islam. Why? Islam is misogynistic, homophobic, anti-free speech, anti-democracy. And the people who are supposed to champion these values are providing a cover for it. It doesn't make sense. The world is upside down. But their rhetoric is becoming more and more stupid over time. As you saw our prime minister, yeah? No difference. Taliban, we're just as Australian as Steve Irwin.
I will now recognize Mr. Hunter Lopez for his 5 minutes.
Chairman Roy, Ranking Member Scanlon, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Marco Hunter Lopez. I am a 16-year-old sophomore at Wiley East High School in Wiley, Texas. I've been invited to speak regarding an incident that occurred on February 2nd on my campus in a widespread effort across Texas and the nation. Last year as a freshman, I founded the Republican Student Club because I wanted to foster a space for students who share the same values. What should have been a simple act of student leadership became a prolonged battle against school administrators who treated my group differently from every other club on campus. On August 16th of 2024, we met every requirement: 10 members, a teacher sponsor in a room. Other groups, including the Muslim Student Association and organizations supporting gender-affirming ideology, were approved without issue. Our club was denied for being political in nature. Administrators first claimed a district-wide policy against political clubs. Then, after weeks of emails requesting the policy in writing, they admitted it was simply how they felt. Only after more than a month of emails, pushback, and enormous efforts were we approved. Even then, we faced hostile scrutiny. Principals were caught taking down our approved posters while I was out of town. I have a documented timeline of specific instances of an unfair treatment being pulled into the principal's office, cornered, and talked down to. After we hosted two guest speakers last year, the principal tried to impose new rules on the fly. My father even had to help create a guest speaker form to protect me as a minor. This pattern of censorship against our club stands in stark contrast to how administrators have handled the promotion of Islamic ideology, and including Sharia. On February 2nd, I was leaving a meeting and was walking to the cafeteria for lunch, and I saw a large booth labeled Islam set up in the school. 4 adult women from the organization Why Islam were there. I was confused and did not want to give it attention, but after discussing it with my friends, we decided to approach the booth. I had a discussion with the women, one in particular who they kept referring me to because she knew most of the theological questions. As we tried to understand their goal, I looked over and saw multiple pamphlets spread out, one of which was explicitly titled Understanding Sharia. This was very concerning to me and other students. They were also making Qurans available that include a Shahada card on the last page instructing students how to convert. Quote, to become a Muslim, one needs to make the following declaration. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. This openly occurred during lunch with administrators present who did nothing to intervene. The dangers of allowing Sharia to be promoted in public schools are real and immediate. Sharia is not simply...
Sorry, I have to interject. And this is so predatory that if you've said this Shahada, then you're a Muslim. And then if you change your mind, a week later, it's like, oh, like I just spoke to this guy for 5 minutes at a stall at a university campus. They didn't tell me about all this homophobia and capital punishment for apostasy and blah, 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 all that crap. So I want to leave Islam. No, you can't. Because, hey, I wouldn't do anything, but the punishment for apostasy is death. So I may not endorse it, but wink, wink, someone else might. And you'll have to watch. You have to look over your shoulder for the rest of your life. So predatory. This is a predatory religion and predatory ideology, barbaric and primitive and archaic and outdated ideology. It has no place in the free world. Not in America, not in Britain, not in Europe, not in Australia. Go take it to your desert. I don't care. I really don't care. I used to, have these grandiose ambitions. Like, I'm going to liberate the Muslims of the world. I'm going to liberate Pakistanis, and I'm going to liberate the poor Afghans from Islam, from the clutches of Islam. I'll tell them to leave Islam. But you know what? Now I don't care. Maybe I'm an older man, so maybe, your ambitions kind of fizzle out a little bit as you get older. But I am also more focused on the more immediate danger at hand, which is right here in the West, because they have spread their tentacles all across the world, and we need to stop them. Thank you to this young man.
A personal religious observance. It is a comprehensive legal and political system that includes unequal treatment, restrictions on free speech, harsh punishments, and fundamental incompatibility with the U.S. Constitution, Texas law, and American values of individual liberty and equality. Handing out materials that present Sharia favorably to minors during the school day without parental approval risks normalizing ideas that undermine the very principles our public schools are supposed to uphold. This is not neutral education. It is ideological promotion under the guise of diversity and inclusion. The contrast with my own club could not be clearer. While the Republican Student Club faced denial, censorship, poster removal, and hostile oversight, an outside organization was given easy access to distribute Sharia-related materials directly to students. Administrators not only allowed it, they actively promoted Islamic events. The principal has enthusiastically participated.
Excellent. That's all I've got. But the other senator at the start of the show is Senator Chip Roy. Have a listen to him. He's on absolute fire here, and the left just got humiliated. Have a listen. This is funny. This is good.
Gangs in the United Kingdom.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, it's been pretty much all over the news. Very large numbers of people being raped in the United Kingdom by foreign nationals in the United Kingdom, with significant allegations of it being heavily by Pakistanis and other individuals that have been immigrated into the United Kingdom. Are you familiar with that at all?
I'm not familiar with that.
They're living under a rock. These people are living under a rock, and they are deciding our future. So these people basically want to open up their borders. They want to roll out a red carpet for people from all kinds of terrible cultures, but they don't even bother to do their homework, okay? At least familiarize yourself or educate yourself with the opposing argument. Now, what is the argument against bringing in these people from these terrible cultures? What is the argument? No, you're racist. That's it. That's all they have equipped themselves with. The grooming gang scandal, the rape gang scandal. Even the most bleeding heart lefty liberals of the UK cannot deny this anymore.
Ms. Mecklenburg, are you familiar with that?
Very familiar, yes.
Right. And are you also familiar with the arbitration agreements that were adopted in the United Kingdom that have allowed significantly to have societies and cultures that are separated from the civil laws of the United Kingdom?
Yes, I am. Yes.
And that is a last 20 years kind of phenomenon, right? Where these arbitration agreements are allowing individuals in a separate community adhering to Sharia law to be separated from at least 85 different tribunals in the United Kingdom to be able to carry out Sharia alongside and separate from or even over civil law in the United Kingdom.
Correct.
Are we seeing similar things occurring in the United States?
Yes.
Are we seeing it in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, for example?
Yes.
Did Governor Abbott have to take action in order to deal with some of these separate tribunals in order to stop their existence?
Correct.
Ms. Mack, if you could extrapolate on what I think is one of the most important things we need to address here, which is what you've mentioned, is Islam as political ideology. Do you believe that Islam is compatible with Western civilization?
It is not.
I agree with you. Do you believe that Islam, in carrying out its mission, is waging jihad against the West?
Absolutely.
Is that a part of the Muslim Brotherhood memorandum from 1991?
And the project, both memorandums.
So it is a part of that memorandum and other memoranda, correct?
Yes, correct.
And are there organizations?
These arrogant bastards have even put that in writing, what they're going to do to you. They're shouting from the rooftops. I've played so many of these videos. This video is really getting long. And we still have people who say, what are you talking about? No, Islam is a religion of peace. They're saying it, what they're going to do to you.
Is not just CARE,
Yes.
other organizations affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood to advance jihad against Western civilization, including specifically targeting Texas and the United States.
Yes.
And is that documented?
100%.
Are there imams that are active in Texas and throughout the United States that are similarly championing such jihad against the West to carry out the tenets of Islam?
We have them in their own words, yes.
And you've put those online, they're out for display. You've seen words from imams in the United States saying precisely this language.
Anyone who wants a deep dive into this, I have a playlist called the US or USA. You'll find dozens of those videos, and they're not all that there is out there. That list is not exhaustive. You'll find hundreds more. I actually got tired of playing those videos. So yeah, there are plenty of American imams, or actually imams who happen to be in America, openly, boastfully saying that they're going to conquer America and establish Sharia. Deluded, maybe, but we can't take them lightly.
All across the United States, but very heavily in Texas.
And so I'm going to give you the last minute here to close about your concerns about why this matters. I'm trying to put a bow around all of this. We've had a massive immigration, a massive cultural shift, direct impact on schools, for example, in the state of Texas, and a very clear mission tied to memoranda and individuals that have been, frankly, associated with the Holy Land Foundation prosecutions, other terrorist organizations, CARE, known unindicted co-conspirators, and now we see what's happening around the country. The last 30 seconds for you to put a bow around this.
So what concerns me is we've imported an ideology that we have absolutely no education on, and we have seen all across the country. I'm seeing politicians here today that are working with them. I'm seeing people who I don't know whether you know or not, but they're infiltrating our society. They have come here to take over the society. They've written it down in the project in a 12-point plan. You can read it for yourself. It's written down in the memorandum. They've come to make this country, like they've made countries all across the world, Islamic. So if we do not take action, we've already seen what's happened in Europe, we are going to be worse off than the UK because we have the thought leaders in this country, and they are waging jihad on our society.
Okay, so I have a lot of hope for the US. The US is not going to take it lying down like the UK did. The UK left it too late. We haven't lost the UK yet. But let's just say, I've been saying it for a while, that let's just say for some reason, in some alternate reality, actually no, it could be a very possible reality, the UK falls to the Islamists, falls to Islam, it's gone, okay? You don't need 50% of your population to become Muslim in order for Islam to take over. You just need a few tens of thousands of highly motivated, indoctrinated, dogmatic, ideological people to bring about a revolution. And let's just say the UK falls to Islam. The United States, our Uncle Sam, would still be able to liberate the UK. If Australia falls to Islam, I don't think it's going to happen because something's going to go really wrong in Europe. And then Australia would be like, ooh, okay, we have to do something. We are already in the process of waking up. So, okay, I worry about Australia, but it breaks my heart to see these pathetic prime ministers, like these pathetic politicians like Anthony Albanese or Tony Burke, the clowns that I played you earlier. But they're not going to be here for long. So we're not going to fall. Australia's not going to fall. The only country that could fall is the UK. But even if it does fall, Uncle Sam will rescue the UK. But if America falls, guys, no one's coming. No rescue's coming. That's why America cannot give them an inch. Cannot, not even a proverbial inch. You cannot give them anything. Stand up, speak up against this barbaric, primitive ideology. It has no place in America, and it should be brutally crushed. This ideology, this movement should be brutally, ruthlessly, unapologetically crushed. And I think it's going to happen. USA!